Is Zorro Ranch in New Mexico worse than Epstein Island? Well, it's sure shaping up that way, and why won't anyone investigate the damn thing? So here is this massive ranch, if you haven't seen it before. Epstein had this private desert oasis, complete with a mansion, a private airstrip, and all the young girls that he could want being trafficked around the world right into Zorro Ranch. Many of them being groomed at massage parlors in Turkey and then flown in and used. Many little kids as well. Curiously, though, investigators decided to ignore the ranch when they were doing their investigation. They ransacked his New York City mansion. They went to his Palm Beach house. The one in Paris, yeah, they looked in there. And, of course, Epstein Island. But for whatever reason, investigators haven't really wanted to touch this home at all, which is very curious. In fact, according to our sources here at Redacted, the new owner, Don Huffines, who bought the place for pennies on the dollar back in the day, has been open for police to come and do an investigation of the property. So, and by the way, he's running for office right now, and so his opponents are using this as like a last ditch, like 11th hour, try to go after the guy. Anyway, but the truth is that he's openly invited. He's totally open to the police coming there and doing a full investigation. You want to use ground penetrating radar? I don't see why he would have a problem with that.
Cadaver dogs, maybe?
Anything. But no one's taken him up on this. It's odd. Why would the police want to do that? Who's stonewalling this, actually? If he's basically inviting police to come there and use tools necessary to locate crimes, why would the police ignore this? Have they reached out to him? Because he's open to it. By the way, this property is like subdivided, so there's actually other owners of other pieces of this property. It's not just him, but of course all the media attention is about him because he owns the largest piece of it. But according to reports, Epstein's former pilot owns a piece of it. Maybe we should talk to him. Even worse, other reports have the DOJ literally telling New Mexico authorities, don't investigate, we've got this. This is ours. And then they didn't search the ranch before it went up for sale. So it goes up for sale, then Don Huffines buys it for like pennies on the dollar because it's a beautiful big ranch. And other reports say Don is preventing an investigation. And again, according to our reporting on this, that's simply not true at all. But people are running with that part of the story. Here's one example. The owner of the Jeffrey Epstein Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, Don Huffines, is ignoring calls for an independent investigation into whether children's bodies may be buried on the property. Again, as I've laid out here, he's totally open to having a police investigation of the property. But no takers so far. And by the way, other people have offered, like, we'll fund it. We'll fund an investigation. Hey, Don, are you going to pay attention to, we will fund this investigation? Go for it. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but if he's open to police coming there and doing a real investigation of the property, why not? And why is the Trump DOJ then sort of stepping all over this? Or even before Trump took office, the DOJ stepping all over this? Why was no investigation carried out when they were swooping into his New York mansion? Well, don't you hate when people say, I told you so? Yeah, that's me, actually, because I did tell you, sorry, but I told you that gold and silver were going to reap the benefits of excessive money printing, the Fed just printing money like crazy, overvalued markets, global unrest. It's here. It's happened. Gold and silver have both soared to all-time highs. So I hope you called our friends at Lear Capital and you bought some. If you didn't, trust me, it's not too late. Experts are predicting even higher prices ahead. And they get it. They know what's coming. Isn't it time, folks? Get yourself some gold and silver today. Call the best in the business. I personally use them. So does Natalie. We both do. And our kids do as well in their IRAs. Lear Capital, it's a free phone call. There's no obligation to purchase, just education information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. I'm sure there are many of you that have called and haven't purchased yet for whatever reason. Don't make the same mistake twice. Now is the time to get some gold shipped directly to you or shift some dollars in your retirement accounts over to physical gold and silver. It's easy to do. Natalie and I have done it for both, and I've been extremely satisfied with Lear's knowledge, their service, their prices. I urge you to call today and learn more. Call them, 1-800-613-3557, or go to learredacted.com, and you can receive up to $20,000 in free bonus medals with a qualified purchase. Here's just one email example of how nefarious things are at the Zorro Ranch. From Edward Aragon. Edward, this is sensitive, so it'll be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but it comes from a person that's been there to Zorro Ranch and seen it all as a former staff at the Zorro Ranch. The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Starry, no questions. What's damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro Ranch, 2 foreign girls were buried there on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G, meaning Madam Ghislaine Maxwell. Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex. And then here are the video footage links. Sex with a minor, threesome, underage girl, sex, on and on and on. Matthew Mellon video, rape fantasy video. Please arrange for 1 Bitcoin by 6 p.m. Eastern today to this Bitcoin wallet address. Okay. So this is in the Epstein files about bodies being buried at Zorro Ranch. And the new owner of at least that part of the ranch, it would seem, well, we don't know exactly where the plot lines are and who owns what. But again, if Epstein's former pilot owns a piece of it, where that land sits, I don't know. But at least on the major part of it, Don Huffines is saying, hey, I'm open to it. Come on. So why no takers on this to Zorro Ranch?
I just can't get over how much murder is in, and nobody was ever charged with murder. Like, there's a lot. I guess, are we allowed to murder, or do we have to be a part of an international cabal? Murder's cool. Now, I'm so confused. I thought that was illegal.
Billionaires, super government that just gets away with it. It's not even investigated by the Department of Justice. And I don't exactly know when they told New Mexico, so I don't know what the time frame, because it wasn't under Trump. It was pre-Trump. It was, it was during the investigation of the mansion, of the Paris house, of the Palm Beach house. So, a number of years ago, but we don't know precisely when that happened. Go ahead, Philip.
It's so frustrating because you could have somebody that owes like $100 to some district court in Virginia for a minor drug charge, and they will no-knock warrant your house, kick your door in, possibly shoot your dog, and take you to jail. They not only did they gave Epstein prior notice to all of these searches. Mm-hmm. They let him know they were coming, and they didn't investigate anything. They didn't investigate all of it, and it's just so indicative of the different justice systems we have in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right.
The Ian Carroll bit that we played last week about this was in Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, that they saw binders of CDs, of, movies, of images, and they were like, we're not here for this. We don't have a warrant for this. We'll come back for it later. And he had full knowledge to destroy that, hide it, whatever it be. And it's crazy. Right. And there was one that went viral over the weekend. It described 2 Caucasian males watching a young minor, and the images showed cuts to genitals. And they had an image of it. And the Department of Justice said there were no men who abused women. And there's a description of an image that we can't see that says 2 Caucasian men looking at a girl who's hurt, underage girl there were men. So who gets punished for lying about that? How can they just say this when the data, who's going to ask them this? Somebody.
Well, again, and regardless how you feel about the Don Huffines, I don't know him personally, but he buys the property after all of this happens, and he's open to having the police come. So why haven't the police taken him up on that? Like, why has the DOJ ignored this property?
Yeah.
Why are they not using ground penetrating radar, cadaver dogs, other things to locate bodies? Why? Who's stonewalling that? Mm-hmm. I just don't understand that. So again, and you can talk about his biotech firm and all of that stuff. that's where you have these people who are trying to paint him. It seems, in my opinion, they're trying to paint him as somehow tied to this property in a larger capacity, and that's a bridge too far for me. And there's zero evidence of that. But there's evidence apparently on this property. So why don't you go frickin' investigate it?
Yeah.